we got this crazy radio message from Leclerc, which was very disrespectful to his team. Apparently, he knew there were some problems, and they tinkered with the front wing, and it didn't work out. Whatever they did with the front wing, it didn't work out because he was leading in the race. But I think they knew there was a problem coming. Didn't work out. Third stint of the race, Leclerc lost like about a second per lap over a couple of laps and fell from. I think he fell from behind Norris. I think he fell from second to fourth place, something like that. Don't quote me on that. But my theory is that whatever this problem is with the car that he was complaining, that he says it's the chassis. It all goes back to all the changes they made on their car last year, changing the front suspension, changing the suspension radically, changing 99%, probably trying to please Lewis Hamilton and to gamble and come up with something big. And I think that's why this year they've just been erratic, good in some places, bad in some places. And I think that what the source of that erratic behavior of the car is the suspension issues and also the plank issues. They have plank wear. It's never gone away. And they keep adjusting the car from race to race, trying to get around that plank wear thing, which can get them eliminated in races. But we'll get into that. Let's first get into the statement that Leclerc made while racing when he knew George Russell was about to pass him. I think Piastri passed him. He knew his race was fucked. He said, "This is so incredibly frustrating. We've lost our competitiveness. You just have to listen to me. I would have found a different way of managing these issues. Now it's just unbelievable, undrivable. It's a miracle if we finish on the podium," and they didn't. Then after the race, he took it back. I think the Maranello or the Scuderia Mafia told him, "You better change your word, boy." After the race, he said, I spoke too soon. It was a problem with the chassis. Then later on, our boy, Vasseur clarified. He said that they had some issues with his chassis, because the suspension is part of the chassis. He said they had some issues with grip and with suspension, and or perhaps something was broken in the car. We're gonna find out. But to me, this is just a bunch of chaos as far as I'm concerned. Also, the race, which is a auto journal, for F1 magazine, says that they suspect that the car behaves differently at the end of the straight with lower power to deal with anticipation for the curbs, which once again goes to suspension and plank, because I think that car is always on the edge of having too much plank wear. What are your thoughts in general, Mr. Kunle?
Yeah, I do agree with you on what they've done in respect of what they got wrong in respect of the adjustments that they made at the end of last season. Whether the motivation was to help Lewis Hamilton, I don't really know, because, I mean, he came into that car late. And if that was the motivation, that would have been incredibly foolish to try to hone a car based on an incoming driver rather than fine-tune it based on Leclerc settings and then let Hamilton try to find his way. Even if they wanted him to be number one driver, they shouldn't have made adjustments for Hamilton in his first year. They should have just seen how Hamilton managed the car, and then as time goes on, then they can look at the changes that Hamilton would have liked to see later. Because when you do it under testing during the off-season, you're not really able to see what is right and wrong under race conditions. So Ferrari would have been wrong to if that was their strategy. That would be what's failing them now.
I think, don't quote me on this, I'll do some more research. We'll cover it in the coming weeks. But I do remember reading that they did make some adjustments with Lewis Hamilton in mind, because they know he likes rear stability, and he likes more control on the rear. So they did make some changes. I don't know if all of them were inspired by him. And even if they weren't, it's still foolhardy to make a radical change on a car that was 14 points behind McLaren last year in the constructors and won several races last year. Both Sainz and Leclerc won races. So whether it was for Hamilton or not, that was a disastrous move. And it's paying off this year because that car is so schizophrenic. It changes from race to race, from corner to corner. And looming behind all of this is that skid issue, which is tied to the suspension. Let's basically see what the problem is. They don't understand the car, and that's not an insult to them. If you change 99% of the car, it will have pockets of unpredictability that you won't be able to master for a couple of years. Remember, Kunle, Mercedes had that same problem with porpoising. It took them about 2 or 3 years to overcome that. So once again, I'm going to say it was a horrible move for them to change their suspension coming into the last year. And because changing their suspension radically changed the concept. And not only the suspension, apparently they changed 99% of the car, a new concept. They're very lucky that they're even coming second in the constructors this year. What's your thoughts on Falabi in general? Yeah.
Yeah, I quite agree with you. And I think they tweaked that car too much. And like you guys rightly mentioned, they had Hamilton in mind because his driving style is based on entering corner at a very, very high speed, high corner entry, basically. And his braking too does not suit the Ferrari engine braking system. So usually he has problems with the balance with the car. So all those tweaks was targeted towards making the car more drivable for Hamilton. So they now overdid it to the extent that the car now has a lot of reliability issues, like what happened to Leclerc. I think they're just trying to shift the blame. Leclerc initially said it was a setup thing. Then later they discovered it was the chassis. It's possible it's the chassis anyway, because things like the suspension, maybe because these things, the sharp drop in performance and pace started around lap 40. So maybe the problem progressively deteriorated as the race went on. So maybe there was a crack in the suspension or some kind of torsional wear or tear or something like that. But whatever it is, the engineering team still have themselves to blame for it, because it was head and shoulders above everybody before that problem started. And there was a sharp drop in his performance pace. So they have themselves to blame. The change was too radical, and it was done because of Hamilton, and now it's affecting everyone. And the closest opportunity to winning a race, they just blew it.
And it seems strange that Leclerc will contradict himself and apologize for being frustrated that it wasn't what he thought. I think it is what he thought. It's just pure chaos. Nothing works, and they should have tried what he said too. But I think he backtracked because the mafia said something to him. They said, "There's a river with your name on it." What do you think, Kool-Aid?
Well, I think the saving grace for Ferrari, at least, is that the powertrain seems to be having no serious problems. And, I always used to think the engine was the first big problem. Ferrari's problems are to do with the design of the car. And some of it is also to do with race strategy. And these are where they're falling short. To fall so far behind McLaren, and your car is still clearly a fast car. We can see that the Ferrari is still fast on the straights. So I don't know where they're going to go in the adjustments. This is going to be a big season for Ferrari, because not only have they not got it right on this old system, but with all the new rules and changes coming in next year, it's going to be an even bigger headache for them come next season. So they really need to sort out their team when it comes to the bodywork, especially that front. I think it's that front wing that's been the problem for them since for a while, and they really need to sort that out, vis-a-vis the tire degradation and how it's affecting the downforce. They really need to look at their team. I don't know, it's not something that you can really blame on Vasseur, but as team leader, he needs to sort out. The technicians that are working on that part.
Yeah, but somebody has to take the blame for radically changing the design, and he checked on it. I know he's protecting his other engineers, but since he's the team principal, he has to take the blame for that.
So the box fall finally on Vasseur, and with Horner looking around for a new place. And this problem with Ferrari always threatening their drivers when their drivers call them out. Today, it's like yesterday was Leclerc, but the other two previous times, it was Hamilton. Getting annoyed at Hamilton for complaining. I think Ferrari have a communication problem. If every time their driver is upset, the Ferrari team seems to, rather than react to the problem, they react to the driver. I think that's a personality issue now. It's not just Hamilton. If they're doing it to Leclerc as well, I think that's probably, if you look down that toxicity, that's where you'll find a lot of problems that need to be resolved. But it's deep down. It's not on the surface that's quite obvious. A lot of people will miss it.
No.
But I think that there's a personality
There's something
issue.
shady about Ferrari, and it goes up to the management. I'm not joking. Maybe they're like a money laundering operation or something. You get my point?
I think there's a Karen, or a male version of Karen in their organization that seems to be causing issues for them. And I think that we haven't heard the person's name is being kept quiet or something. I think they're distracting with Vasseur and the other chap that Hamilton got in a tizzy with the other previous.
Maybe whoever it is has connections with Netanyahu and his boys. So
maybe, but clearly, whatever it is, it's rubbing people off. It's rubbing the team, team spirit off the
Ferrari
wrong.
has an archaic feudal system where you don't question the board, whoever those people at top are. They're sort of like, remember with Barcelona when Messi went head to head with the management at Barcelona. It's something like that. And it seems like Ferrari is not committed to winning. They're not committed to winning because they say do it my way, not the right way. Whatever's going on is too political.
Yes, and they need to evolve because, I mean, when it becomes, maybe in the olden days, you could have a situation where you could compromise a bit of politics for being competitive. But the margins are so fine now that you have to be maximizing everything to stay competitive. You can have a fast car, but if the body isn't right, you can have a fast car with a good body, but if the team strategy isn't right, you can have a fast car with a good body and the team strategy, but the driver isn't right. You know, there's so many. So if there is this issue of structural behavior or some kind of personality issue in Ferrari, they have to sort it out if they want to stay competitive. They can't continue in their archaic ways. If it doesn't work anymore, it doesn't work anymore.
Especially since it's clear right now, Aston Martin is on the prowl for next year. Aston Martin's going to be bloody fast next year.
Aston Martin is on the prowl. The Toro Rossos were looking very good. Bortoletto and the Sauber, they're looking very.
Can you imagine that? I'm not just blaming, it's partly Hamilton, but it's the car. The disgrace of Hamilton to lose to Bortoletto and these other guys. I'm not saying it's a disgrace for Hamilton. It's a disgrace for Ferrari. And they need to get their act
together. It's a disgrace for Ferrari because it's Ferrari getting it wrong. The setup is not working for Hamilton, going out so early. It's
not working for Leclerc either.
I think he went out in Q2. Was it Q2 he went out?
Yeah,
I mean,
Q2.
That's so poor.
That's
Q2. Really poor. Again, there's too many problems in that Ferrari team.
It's not the first time
too many problems in that Ferrari team. I left it to exuberance and character and all of this flair, and there's not enough precision. But I do think there's some toxicity in that team. You can see how Red Bull is not really affected Red Bull in this race. They're falling off a cliff now.
But Red Bull is falling off because of a lack of personnel and ability and because of Horner. But at least they still behave professionally. There's still accountability. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that with what's happened with Red Bull, with the Horner leaving Red Bull, Verstappen might start dropping enough races to fall out of that fourth position and become a free agent.
He's gone next year. He's gone next year. He can get out of his clause. If I were him, I would go to not even Mercedes now. I think I'd go to Aston Martin instead. What are your thoughts, Afolabi, about Leclerc and about maybe he should go to Aston Martin? Not Leclerc, but Verstappen.
Verstappen going to Aston Martin.
Well, I feel he should go to Aston Martin. That's what I feel. Because with the design expertise of Adrian Newey and the amount of investment that has gone into wind tunnel technology at Aston Martin, I think with a talent like Max Verstappen, it will be a match made in heaven. And I think Ferrari, you know that we are going into 2026. There's going to be a change of powertrain. There's going to be a radical overhaul in, setups and upgrades. So why then do something major at the beginning of 2025? They should have just picked back a little bit, not necessarily to suit one driver, because everybody has 2026 in view. And then going into 2026, you can begin to do major changes. That's exactly what's happening in Aston Martin. Now they're counting the cost of having a poor season with Hamilton, because there was no how Hamilton will hit the ground running. It's just not possible in spite of his 7 championships. It doesn't happen. It's a different car, it's a different team. You are 42. The dynamics are not the same as it was in Mercedes. So I think the Ferrari team only have themselves to blame. And that's why they're passing ball between the drivers and the engineering side.
Yeah. And I think Mercedes is not much better than Ferrari when it comes to the chaos. The car has not been doing well. They got lucky because the track temperatures were cool in this race, and this race is a slow, and because Ferrari messed up. If not for that, even Russell wouldn't have been on the thing.
Of course,
But
of course.
it looks like Aston Martin, and Aston Martin did well this week. And Aston Martin is building up, and Stroll has become a better driver. They're saying he's taking cues from what's his name, Alonso. So we might want to take a look at Aston Martin for Verstappen going into next year, because they seem to be more disciplined and organized. Mercedes has a big name and a powerful engine, but it seems like they haven't been committed to engineering and aerodynamics the past couple of years. We'll quickly talk about that, Quinley, then we'll head out. We're not going to talk about it too much, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mercedes, we've all known and we've all been seeing, their problem is not so much with the reliability of the car. I think it's power unit, its straight line speed gets exposed on the faster tracks. That's Ferrari's biggest problem with their car.
Mercedes.
Yes. I think that Ferrari.
Doesn't matter. Yes, for both. Go ahead.
I love Aston. Aston Martin is becoming the more attractive team. If I was Lewis Hamilton, he really should have gone to Aston Martin instead.
They're building for the future.
Instead of Ferrari. Yeah. Ferrari is just not his it doesn't match his personality. The British car, I like Aston Martin. The reason why I like Aston Martin is because it's a racing car company with racing car pedigree. It has a history of making fast cars. British Racing
just
Green
like McLaren.
has always been, in and around Formula One for many, many years. It's a proper team. It's not, made up of newbies and people who don't have a history of fast cars. They have
people selling Red Bull and Power Horse.
Red Bull. Soft drink company, one race.
Carbonated drinks. People selling carbonated drinks.
All right, guys. Let's get out of here. Very good one. Kole, maybe in an hour and a half we can do a political one. Is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. What time would that be? An hour and a half as well.
What time is it now? It's 2:15. It's 2:15. So let's say 3:30. No, 4:30.
4:30. 4:30.
Yes.
Good.
All right, take us out of Falabi. Thanks.
Okay, it's been another brilliant Formula One show. We'll be back again sometime during the week. From Mustafa Kule and myself, it's bye for now.
Okay, thank you.